SmackDown took place in Orlando, Florida, which is close to NXT, which takes place at the Performance Center, which is why we saw many NXT stars on SmackDown. And also, NXT is running a show on Saturday night, which will take place the day after SmackDown in Miami. That's officially in Fort Lauderdale. But you had the show start off with Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, Nia Jax all arriving before their big triple threat match. We see Sami Zayn arriving as well, as he was scheduled for a U.S. Open Challenge match. You had Michael Cole and Booker T on commentary as they're selling Corey Graves being taken out by Brock Lesnar for the time being. So Paul Heyman was in the ring to start. The fans were chanting OTC at him. He then mentions Brock, but Cody interrupts him. Orlando sings Cody, Cody Rhodes, like it's in England. He brings up Brock, and obviously the destination or going with Brock is going to be at War Games. I think that's pretty obvious right now. Braun Breaker and Bronson would come in. They're about to jump Cody, but then Cody tells them that Paul Heyman won't be loyal to them. Eventually, they brawl. Randy Orton makes the save, and both Randy and Cody stand tall to end the segment. Backstage, Kathy Kelly, who, by the way, I believe today on Saturday is officially celebrating her birthday, so happy birthday, Kathy Kelly. She is the youngest-looking 37-year-old of all time, I'll say that. Anyway, she's interviewing the Street Profits. They're back on the same page, it seems like, and then they make their entrance together. They plug WrestleMania 42 as the tickets are now officially on sale. You might have to take out a mortgage to afford one, but if you can and you can afford it, go get one. I personally cannot. So they show us some more sights from Orlando. I wanted to mention this. They always show that Orlando Skywheel. I don't know what it's officially called, but we see that all the time for NXT for like every show, and they have to show us the same sights on SmackDown. So the Street Profits take on Mello Don't Miz. So you had the Miz keep blind tagging in the match when Carmelo Hayes looked like he was about to get the upper hand. The Miz would keep tagging in the match. Eventually, Carmelo Hayes allows the Miz to be pinned after Miz tagged himself in one too many times. After the match, the Street Profits are confronted by the Wyatt Six, who pose on the announce table, and we got that as our next tag team title match. Kathy Kelly, who interviews Jade Cargill backstage ahead of her title match. Stephanie Vaquera appears, and her and Jade stand off, and they tease a match in the future, which did not happen and will not happen at Crown Jewel. Julia was out next with Kiana James, and then we get Julia and Kiana James taking on Mishin and B-Fab. So Julia pins Mishin after a Northern Lights bomb. It was okay. Julia was fine here. I just think she needs new theme music, and they can do a lot more with her. And I think the problem is with Julia is when he sees how much success Stephanie Vaquera is having, and considering that they came up together in NXT, Julia isn't having the same success. So I think it shows more when she isn't doing as much. But here it was actually a good showing tonight. So, after the match, backstage, Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair, our women's tag team champions, were watching the tag match on a monitor in the locker room. That's when Sol Ruca and Zarya of NXT walk up to them and basically demand a women's tag team title match. Charlotte tells them they have to earn it. They respond to Charlotte. They call her hypocritical because she doesn't earn her matches. Eventually, Alexa tells them to get in line, and they were going to go after him, but Sol Ruca tells Zarya to stop, and they eventually leave. So they're teasing a match between the two women. It doesn't appear like Zarya is going to turn on Sol Ruca on the NXT PLE No Mercy, the way this was set up. Drew McIntyre was out next, and they officially announced John Cena and AJ Styles at Crown Jewel. Drew mentions this is the same arena he returned to WWE in 2017. I remember that was NXT TakeOver Orlando. When they first showed Drew McIntyre in the crowd, and that's when he made his return to NXT after he was released in 2014. He blames the referee for his loss. He says it's a conspiracy. Nick Aldis mentioned the injury, the foot injury Drew has, and Drew's in the walking boot, and I think there's a controversy because WWE, I don't know what they're saying, is if WWE didn't diagnose him, they didn't pay for his own medical insurance, and Drew went out and got it checked out himself. I think that's what they were saying. As Drew complains, Jacob Fatu comes out to confront him, and Jacob calls him out for complaining. Drew yells at him. They keep taking the mic away from each other because I guess they forgot to have a second mic, but it was actually more effective. Eventually, Drew hits a Glasgow Kiss headbutt onto Jacob Fatu. Fatu responds by super kicking him. Then he rips off the walking boot and hits Drew over the head with it. So Fatu standing tall. It's the first time we've seen him in about a month. it seems like. And hopefully that's our next program. Drew McIntyre, Jacob Fatu. That's a good match. We were backstage in the lounge when we see Tiffany Stratton looking at herself in the mirror, and then Stephanie Vaquer walks up behind her, and they have a brief exchange. So they had Stephanie interact with all the women before the triple threat match. Sami Zayn talks to Dragon Lee backstage about who his next opponent should be for the U.S. Open Challenge. Sami Zayn's out next. We get a Solo Sikoa video promo, Who Cares? And then after that, we get Javon Evans, who's revealed as a surprise participant. And then we get Sami Zayn defending his U.S. Championship against Javon Evans. So they show Josh Briggs, who's Javon Evans' opponent, watching from the crowd. And they're going to face at No Mercy. And I thought Josh had probably cost Javon Evans the match, which didn't happen. They have a very good match. Javon Evans hit this incredible OG cutter that just looked fantastic. He's one of the most athletic high flyers I've ever seen. Sami won the match after a haluva kick followed by a blue thunder bomb. Sami raises Javon's hand after the match to put him over, even though he beat him. And this was actually a really good match, and this was probably the best part of the whole show. Nia Jax is walking backstage, and then Chelsea Green and Alba Fire tried to recruit her. And there's an update on Piper Niven. Her injury, which I just wasn't aware about, was that it actually could be career-ending, so that's not good. But maybe it makes sense to put Nia in the Secret Service because they really don't have much for her right now, but she declines them right now. Stephanie Vaquer wishes her luck. Nia brushes her off, so that was the third interaction they had with Stephanie Vaquer. Damian Priest is backstage. Kit Wilson calls him a toxic masculine male and stuff, so Priest punches him out, but then he turns around and just eats a black mass from Aleister Black. So this feud will continue, this never-ending feud. They must have been feuding for an eternity, I don't know, but they're going to continue feuding. Main event was next. Tiffany Stratton against Jade Cargill against Nia Jax for the WWE Women's Championship in a triple threat match. So I have to say, my highlight of this match was Tiffany Stratton's her rose-themed gear. So I don't want to sound weird, but I mean, basically the rose is kind of, it's like, I shouldn't say it. It's kind of like when on her bra, the rose is like exactly where the nipples are, and then she has the green stem or plant like go up. It was just, I thought it was creative how it was done. May not have been too PG, but I just thought her ring gear was actually really good. And then Tiffy got the biggest pop. The fans were behind Tiffy, and that's a contrast from her match with Jade a couple of weeks ago in which the fans were behind Jade. Tiffy was definitely the baby face here. So the match I thought was actually going pretty good until everything just fell off a cliff, and this was the biggest disaster of the year. This was a catastrophe how this ended. But so what happens is Jade Cargill gets driven into the steps by Nia Jax, and she just gets busted open badly. There's a deep cut right on her eyebrow, and it's gross, and she's bleeding. She's bleeding like crazy. I'm sure it's someone like Jade, who's obviously very attractive. They would have her get a plastic surgery to fix that. That's not a good idea to go to a doctor who's just going to put stitches and it's going to be a scar. You need to go to a plastic surgery for that. But she is bleeding. I think it was Nia's fault. Nia just drove her into the steps, and she did it to Kairi Sane years ago. I mean, Nia Jax injuring people. What else is new in 2025? Wow. I don't know what to say. The grass is green, the sky is blue, Nia Jax hurts people. What else are you going to have? But the bigger problem, besides actually the worst thing was Jade getting hurt, but it was a really bad cut and very bloody. But near the end of the match, Tiffy hits a drop kick onto Nia Jax, and it looks like she's going to pin her. But then Nia Jax, she just doesn't kick out. And she was obviously going to get kicked out because the match is not going to end on a fucking drop kick. Tiffy hits a drop kick on Nia. It looks like it's over. 1-2, and it was over. She pinned her. 1-2-3. The ref doesn't count it because that wasn't supposed to be the finish. Nia Jax just didn't kick out. She just forgot to kick out. She's been wrestling, I don't know, for about 10 years. She just forgot to kick out. In what freaking universe is a match going to end with a fucking drop kick? And not even a top rope drop kick. So this is such a catastrophe. No one knows what the fuck happened here. I feel bad for the referee because she looks like a fool now. Eventually, Tiffany just hits the prettiest moonsault ever and pins Nia Jax 1-2-3. And man, that just killed the match. It was such a disaster. But Tiffy gets the win. She retains the belt. Just an absolute clusterfuck to end it, man. This was just a disaster. So right after Tiffy wins and celebrates, Stephanie Vaquer comes out as the Women's World Champion. And the show ends with a stare down. the match is officially set for Crown Jewel. It will be Stephanie Vaquer, your Women's World Champion, taking on Tiffany Stratton, your WWE Women's Champion, at Crown Jewel. They stare each other down, both pose with their belts, and that's how SmackDown ended.